I'm climbing the rusted ladder and my hands are already bleeding. 3 rungs from the top, and I can hear them below, that wet shuffling sound they make when they're hunting. My backpack catches on something, and for one horrible second I think I'm stuck, but it tears free and I'm scrambling over the edge of the access hatch, pulling myself onto the narrow platform that circles this ancient water tower. The hatch. I need to close the hatch. I spin around and grab the metal door, swinging it down hard. The locking mechanism is corroded, orange with rust, and my fingers slip twice before I manage to slide the bolt home. It's thin, so thin, just a piece of metal between me and what's down there. I press my back against the curved wall of the tower and try to breathe. Try to think. Try to do anything except listen to the sounds below. This water tower has been abandoned for maybe 20 years. I remember my dad telling me about it when I was a kid, how the city built a new water treatment facility and just left this one to rot. It stands about 60 feet high, a massive cylindrical tank on iron legs covered in graffiti and rust. The ladder up is partially collapsed at the bottom. I had to drag a shopping cart over and climb on top of it just to reach the first intact rung. That shopping cart probably saved my life. I can't climb. Not well. Not that high. My heart is hammering so hard I can feel it in my teeth. I made it. I actually made it. The platform I'm on is maybe 3 feet wide, circling the entire circumference of the tower. There's the access hatch I came through, and about 10 feet away, there's a larger maintenance door that leads inside the tank itself. I crawl toward it, every movement sending vibrations through the old structure. The whole thing groans and I freeze, certain for a moment that it's going to collapse. It doesn't. The maintenance door is padlocked, but the hasp is so rusted it pulls free from the wood frame when I yank on it. The door swings inward with a shriek of metal on metal that echoes across the entire landscape. I wince, waiting, listening. Below me the sounds change, more of them coming. The noise drew them. I slip inside and pull the door shut behind me. Darkness, complete and total darkness. I fumble in my backpack for the flashlight I grabbed from the gas station 3 days ago. My fingers find it, and I click it on. The beam cuts through the black, illuminating the interior of the water tower. It's bigger than I expected. The tank is maybe 30 feet across, with a curved ceiling that rises another 15 feet overhead. The bottom is covered in debris, old boards, broken bottles, crushed beer cans, evidence of every teenager who climbed up here over the years to party. The walls are covered in more graffiti, layers upon layers of spray paint, names and dates and crude drawings and declarations of love that probably didn't last the summer. There's a smell, mildew and rust and something else, something organic and rotten. Bird droppings, maybe, or dead animals that crawled up here and couldn't get back down. But it's dry, and it's safe. I think it's safe. I do a full circle with the flashlight, checking every shadow, every corner. Nothing moves. I'm alone. The adrenaline starts to wear off and my legs give out. I sit down hard on the curved floor, my back against the wall, and finally let myself shake. My hands won't stop trembling. There's blood on my palms from the ladder, and my left shoulder throbs where one of them grabbed me back at the pharmacy. Its fingers didn't break the skin. I don't think they broke the skin, but the bruise is already forming a perfect handprint in purple and black. I should check. I should strip off my jacket and shirt and check every inch of myself for scratches, for bites, for any break in the skin that could mean I'm infected. But I can't move yet. I just sit here in the beam of the flashlight and try to remember how to breathe normally. It's been 6 days since everything ended. 6 days since the emergency broadcast cut off mid-sentence and never came back. Since the screaming started, since the streets filled with people who weren't people anymore. I was at work when it started. I'm a night shift stalker at a warehouse, or I was, back when jobs mattered. We heard the sirens first, distant and then closer, and then so many sirens all at once that they blurred into one continuous wail. My supervisor went outside to see what was happening and never came back. Through the loading dock door, I saw him running across the parking lot with 3 other people chasing him. They ran wrong with this stuttering, lurching gait, and when they caught him, they pulled him down like dogs on a rabbit. I hid in the warehouse for 2 days. There was food, cereal and crackers and canned goods, and I built a fort of pallets in the back corner and waited for someone to come. Police, military, somebody in charge who would know what to do. Nobody came. The power went out on the 2nd day. The emergency lights lasted another 6 hours, and then it was just darkness and the sounds of things moving in the aisles. I don't know how they got in. I don't know if they were people I worked with or strangers who wandered in from outside, but I could hear them shuffling through the warehouse, bumping into shelves, knocking things over. I left on the 3rd day, climbed out a high window in the break room and ran. Been running ever since. The city is gone. Not destroyed, not burned, just gone in the way that matters. Empty cars sitting in the streets with their doors open. Bodies everywhere, in the roads and on the sidewalks and slumped in doorways. Some of them get up when you get close. Some of them don't. You learn quickly not to check which is which. The survivors are almost worse than the infected. I saw a group of them yesterday, 4 men with guns, dragging a woman into a building while she screamed. I hid behind a dumpster and waited for them to pass. What was I supposed to do? I don't have a gun. I don't have anything except a backpack with 3 bottles of water, a can of beans, a half-empty bag of trail mix, 1 energy bar, and this flashlight. And now I have this tower. I stand up slowly, testing my legs. The shaking has mostly stopped. I need to see what I'm working with here. Need to take inventory of this space and figure out if I can actually survive here or if I've just climbed into a different kind of trap. The flashlight beam sweeps across the interior again. There are 2 small windows, one on opposite sides of the tank, just slots really, maybe 6 inches wide and 2 feet tall. They're covered with mesh screen to keep birds out, but most of the mesh has rusted away. Pale light comes through them. It must be late afternoon now, maybe 5 or 6 o'clock. I move to the nearest window and look out. The view is dizzying. I can see for miles in every direction. The water tower sits on the edge of what used to be an industrial park, now overgrown with weeds and small trees. Beyond that, the city sprawls out in a grid of streets and buildings. Smoke rises from at least a dozen locations, thin black columns against the gray sky. Nothing moves except the smoke. No, that's not true. Things are moving. I can see them if I look carefully, small figures wandering through the streets with that characteristic stumbling walk. There are hundreds of them, maybe thousands. Below me at the base of the tower, I count 15 of them. They're clustered around the legs of the structure, looking up. They know I'm here. They can't reach me, but they know. I back away from the window. Okay, think. I need to think. Supplies first. I empty my backpack onto the floor and sort through what I have. 3 bottles of water, each about 20 ounces. One is half empty. 1 can of black beans, no pull tab, which means I need a can opener I don't have. A Ziploc bag with maybe 2 cups of trail mix, raisins, peanuts, chocolate chips. 1 chocolate chip energy bar, smashed flat but still edible. The flashlight with batteries that are probably already dying. A lighter I grabbed from behind a gas station counter. A folding knife with a 3-inch blade. 1 spare t-shirt. A bottle of ibuprofen, nearly full. A first aid kit I looted from a pharmacy, the same one where the infected grabbed my shoulder. My phone, dead. Useless without power or cell service. And that's it. That's everything I own in the world now. I have maybe 3 days of water if I'm careful. Less than a day of food. No blanket, no sleeping bag, no jacket, except the thin hoodie I'm wearing. The nights are getting cold. It's October, I think, maybe early November. I've lost track of the days. This isn't sustainable. I can't stay here long term, not without water and food. But where else can I go? Every building I've tried has either been full of infected or already picked clean by other survivors. The stores are chaos zones, broken glass and blood and bodies. The houses are worse. They feel too personal somehow, too much like invading someone's private space while they're dead in the next room. At least here I'm high up. I can see them coming. They can't sneak up on me. I walk the perimeter of the tank, examining every inch. The floor is solid, though it sags slightly in the middle. There are rust stains everywhere, and in a few places I can see through small holes to the platform outside. The walls are sound except for the windows. The ceiling is intact. There's a drain in the center of the floor, a round grate about a foot across. I kneel down and shine the flashlight through it. The pipe goes straight down, probably running through the center of the tower's support structure. I can see light at the bottom. It's open to the ground. My stomach clenches. Could they climb up through there? I don't think so. The pipe looks maybe 6 inches wide. Too narrow for a person, but it's an opening, a vulnerability. I find a board among the debris, a piece of old plywood about 2 feet square, and drag it over the drain. It's not much, but it makes me feel better. The light from the windows is fading fast now. I'm losing daylight. I need to set up some kind of sleeping area before it gets completely dark. Need to save the flashlight batteries as much as possible. I gather the flattest boards I can find and arrange them in a corner, away from the windows, making a kind of platform to sleep on. It's not comfortable. The boards are warped and splintered, but it's better than lying directly on the curved, rusty floor. I ball up my spare shirt as a pillow. My stomach growls. I ignore it. The food needs to last, and I'm not hungry enough yet to justify eating. Thirsty, though. I'm so thirsty. The run here was long. I sweated through my shirt. I allow myself 3 sips of water from the half-empty bottle. Each swallow is carefully measured, barely enough to wet my throat. It's not nearly enough, but it has to be. The light outside is almost gone now. Through the windows, I watch the sky fade from gray to deep blue to black. Stars come out, more stars than I've seen in years. Without the city lights, the sky is brilliant with them. It's beautiful and terrible at the same time. This reminder that the universe doesn't care what's happening down here. I turn off the flashlight to save batteries and sit in the darkness. The sounds start almost immediately. Not from inside the tower, but from below, from outside. That constant low moaning, wet and throaty, that the infected make. It never stops. Even when individual voices fade, others take their place, a chorus of the dead that goes on and on. I try to sleep. I lie down on my board platform and close my eyes and tell myself that I'm safe here, that the ladder is broken, that they can't reach me. But every sound makes me jolt awake. The tower creaks and groans with temperature changes. Things skitter across the roof, birds or rats or something else. The wind picks up and whistles through the window slots, and the whole structure sways slightly. Enough that I can feel it. I drift in and out, never quite sleeping, never quite awake. At some point deep in the night, I hear screaming in the distance, a woman's voice, high and desperate, cutting through the moaning of the infected. It goes on for maybe 30 seconds, and then it stops. I lie there with my eyes open in the darkness and try not to imagine what that last 30 seconds was like for her. When morning comes, it comes slowly, gray light creeping through the window slots. I'm cold and stiff, and my mouth tastes like rust. Every muscle aches. The bruise on my shoulder has spread, an ugly purple-black that extends from my collarbone to halfway down my arm. I sit up and immediately my head swims. Dehydration probably. I need water. 3 sips. That's all I allow myself. 3 sips from the half-empty bottle, which is now less than a quarter full. The trail mix. I count out 15 raisins, 10 peanuts, 5 chocolate chips. Eat them one at a time, chewing slowly, making them last. My stomach cramps with hunger, wanting more, but this has to stretch. I stand and walk to the window, looking out at the new day. They're still down there, More of them now, actually. I count 23 clustered around the base of the tower. They're not doing anything, just standing there, swaying slightly, looking up, waiting. Do they understand that I'm trapped? Do they have enough brain function left to realize that eventually I'll have to come down or die up here? Or are they just drawn to the noise I made climbing up, lingering here because this is the last place they sensed prey? I don't know. Nobody knows how much of the person remains after infection. The emergency broadcasts before everything went dark said to avoid all contact, that the infected were extremely dangerous, that help was coming. The broadcasts lied about that last part. I turn away from the window and face the reality of my situation. I have maybe 2 days of water left, less than a day of food. The can of beans is useless without a can opener. I can try to smash it open, but I'll probably just end up wasting the contents. The energy bar and trail mix won't sustain me for long, but the immediate crisis is water. I can survive 3 weeks without food, supposedly. 3 days without water, maybe 4 if I stay still and don't exert myself. Where can I get water? Rain. If it rains, I can collect water. The roof of the tank is curved, and it would probably channel rainwater to the edges. I could position bottles at the window slots, catch whatever runs off. But the sky is clear, no clouds anywhere. And I don't know when it last rained, or when it might rain again. The drain. That pipe in the floor leads somewhere, probably to a drainage system or sewer. There might be standing water at the bottom. But the idea of drinking that makes me want to vomit. Rust water, probably contaminated with decades of bird droppings and dead animals and whatever else is washed through there. Or I could leave, climb down, find a store or house, get more supplies, risk the infected, risk other survivors, risk everything for a few bottles of water and some cans of food. I'm not ready to leave yet, not while they're still down there, waiting. So I wait too. The day passes slowly. I ration myself 3 sips of water at what I guess is noon, another 3 in the afternoon. My lips are starting to crack. My head aches with a dull, persistent pain that sits right behind my eyes. I explore every inch of the tank, looking for anything useful. I find more trash, cigarette butts, empty bottles, plastic bags. I find a needle and 3 hypodermic syringes near one of the windows, drug paraphernalia left behind by addicts who used to come up here to shoot up. I find a dead bird, dried to a husk, its tiny skeleton perfectly preserved. I find words, so many words, spray painted on the walls, names and dates going back years. Jason plus Amber forever in bright red letters. Class of 2009 in black. Fuck the police in white. A phone number with "for a good time" call above it. Someone drew an incredibly detailed dragon that must have taken hours. Someone else wrote, "I was here," in tiny letters, almost hidden behind a support beam. All these people who climbed up here, who stood where I'm standing, who looked out these windows at a world that still made sense. Where are they now? Are they dead? Infected? Hiding somewhere like me? I find myself at the window again as the sun starts to set, watching the light fade. The infected below haven't left. A few have wandered off, but others have joined the group. I count 19 now. I drink the last of the first water bottle. 3 measured sips that barely wet my throat. I have 2 bottles left, both full. Maybe 5 days if I'm extremely careful. Maybe less. I eat half the energy bar. It's so sweet it makes my teeth ache. But my body floods with relief at the sugar. I want to eat the other half immediately. I want to tear open the trail mix and stuff handfuls into my mouth, but I force myself to stop. Put the remaining half of the energy bar back in the bag. Zip it closed. Night comes again. The moaning continues below. That awful chorus. I lie on my board platform and try to make my body relax, try to conserve energy. Sleep comes easier tonight, maybe because I'm so exhausted. I drift off, listening to the wind through the windows, and when I wake up it's still dark, but something feels wrong. I lie very still, listening. There's a sound, a new sound, not the moaning from below. This is closer, inside the tower with me. Scratching. Something is scratching at the maintenance door. My heart kicks into overdrive. I grab the flashlight and click it on, aiming the beam at the door. The door is closed. The latch is secure, but the scratching continues, fingernails on metal, a persistent scraping that sets my teeth on edge. One of them is on the platform outside, on my platform, the one I climbed across to get in here. How? The ladder is broken. They can't climb. But one of them did, or maybe it was already up here somehow, trapped on the platform, and I just didn't see it in my panic to get inside. The scratching stops. I keep the flashlight trained on the door, watching for any movement, any sign that it's trying to get in. Silence. Maybe 30 seconds of complete silence. Then a face appears at the window slot to my left. I scream. I can't help it. The sound tears out of my throat and echoes through the tank, and I scramble backward until my back hits the far wall. It's a woman. Or it was a woman. Half her face is gone, torn away, showing white bone and black decay. Her remaining eye is clouded over, the white completely red with burst blood vessels. She's pressing her face against the window mesh, trying to push through the narrow opening. Her hand comes through the slot, fingers grasping, reaching. The mesh tears away, and her arm pushes further inside, all the way to the shoulder. She's moaning now, that wet, gurgling sound, and her fingers claw at the air, at the wall, trying to reach me even though I'm 15 feet away. I'm frozen. I can't move, can't think, can't do anything except stare at that arm reaching into my safe space. Then training kicks in. Not training I ever actually had, but instincts, survival reflex. I grab my knife and unfold the blade. 3 inches of steel. Pathetically small. But it's all I have. I don't want to get close to it. Every fiber of my being screams to stay away, to press myself against the far wall and wait for it to give up. But if I don't do something, if more of them figure out how to climb up, I'll be trapped in here with infected on all sides. I move to the window, staying just out of reach of those grasping fingers. The arm withdraws slightly, and the face presses harder against the opening. The mesh is completely torn away now, and the gap is big enough that if she was thinner, if there was less of her left, she might be able to force herself through. I slash at the arm with the knife. The blade cuts through dead flesh easily, and black blood oozes out. She doesn't react to the pain, just keeps reaching, keeps moaning. I cut again, deeper this time, trying to hit bone. Trying to do enough damage that she'll pull back. The bone stops the blade. I feel it grind against her radius or ulna or whatever the hell the bones in the forearm are called. She doesn't pull back, doesn't stop reaching. I saw at the arm back and forth, and it's horrible. The flesh parts like rotten fruit, and the smell is unbelievable, sweet and rancid and wrong. My stomach heaves, but I keep sawing, keep cutting, until the blade finally breaks through the bone, and the arm falls away. It lands on the floor of the tank, fingers still twitching. The woman outside makes a different sound now, higher pitched, almost confused. She pulls back from the window, and I catch a glimpse of her ruined face before she disappears from view. The arm on the floor keeps moving for another 10 seconds, fingers clenching and unclenching. Then it stops. I back away from the window, knife still in my hand, blood, if you can call it blood, dripping from the blade. My hands are shaking so badly I can barely hold on to it. I should feel something, horror, revulsion, guilt. But I just feel numb. Somewhere in the past 6 days, I've moved beyond those emotions into a gray space where survival is the only thing that matters. I clean the knife on a piece of cardboard, fold it, put it back in my pocket. The arm stays where it fell. I'm not touching it again. The scratching on the door has stopped. I check the windows. The woman is gone, back down the ladder maybe, or fallen. I don't see her on the platform outside, but I know now that they can climb. Not well, but well enough. The broken section of ladder might slow them down, but it won't stop them forever. I'm not as safe here as I thought. I don't sleep the rest of the night. I sit with my back to the wall, knife in one hand, flashlight in the other, watching both windows. Every shadow makes my heart race. Every sound is a threat. Dawn comes eventually. It always does, even when you're certain the night will never end. I'm so thirsty. My tongue feels thick and swollen in my mouth. When I swallow, it hurts. I need water desperately, but I can't bring myself to drink yet. The 2 remaining bottles sit in my backpack, and I know that once they're gone, I'll have to leave or die. The arm is still on the floor. In daylight, it looks less threatening, just a piece of meat with fingernails. I should throw it out, push it through the window slot, but I'm afraid to get that close to the opening. Instead, I move to the other window and look out. The infected below have thinned out. Only 8 of them now, wandering in aimless circles around the tower's base. The woman from last night isn't among them. I scan the platform around the tank and don't see her body, which means she either climbed back down or fell somewhere I can't see. The sun is bright and harsh, and the day promises to be warm. I can feel heat already radiating through the metal walls of the tank. By afternoon, this place will be an oven. I need to think, need to plan. Panic won't help me now. Water is the immediate problem. I have 2 bottles left. If I'm extremely disciplined, I can make them last maybe 4 days. Then what? Die of dehydration? Try to climb down into a group of infected? Hope it rains? There has to be another option. The drain. I keep coming back to the drain in the floor. It's a water tower. There might actually be water somewhere in the system, trapped in pipes, stagnant but potentially drinkable. Or there might be condensation, moisture that collects in the shaded parts of the structure. I move the board aside and shine my flashlight down through the grate. The pipe descends straight down, maybe 4 or 5 inches in diameter, disappearing into darkness. I can't see the bottom, can't tell how deep it goes. If I had rope, I could lower a bottle down, try to collect any standing water. But I don't have rope. I don't have anything except what's in my backpack. Wait, my hoodie. If I cut it into strips, tied them together, I could make a crude rope. It wouldn't be strong, but it might be enough to lower a bottle. But do I really want to drink whatever is down there? Rust water at best, contaminated with who knows what at worst. I could get dysentery, cholera, some infection that would kill me just as surely as dehydration. Then again, I'm going to die anyway if I don't find water. At least this gives me a chance. I take off my hoodie. It's cold without it, but the day is warming up quickly. Using the knife, I start cutting the fabric into long strips, working slowly to make them as continuous as possible. The blade is dull now after cutting through bone last night, and sawing through fabric takes longer than it should. After 20 minutes, I have a rope of sorts, 6 strips of fabric tied together, maybe 15 feet long total. I tie one end around the neck of an empty water bottle, making sure the knot is secure. Then, I lower it through the drain grate. The bottle descends into darkness, spinning slowly. The fabric rope plays out through my hands, surprisingly heavy. 10 feet, 12 feet, 15 feet, and I'm at the end of my improvised rope. I feel the bottle hit something. Not water. It doesn't have that splash and give. Something solid. I pull it back up, hand over hand, careful not to let the knot slip. The bottle comes up dry. Whatever is at the bottom of that pipe, it's not water. I try again, lowering the bottle and swinging it around, hoping to find a pool of water somewhere in the pipe. Nothing. Just the solid thunk of plastic hitting metal or concrete. I pull the bottle back up and sit back on my heels, defeated. So much for that idea. The day grows hotter. By what I estimate is mid-morning, the interior of the tank is already uncomfortably warm. The metal walls radiate heat, and there's no shade, no relief. I'm sweating. which is the worst thing possible when you're trying to conserve water. I drink from the second bottle, 3 tiny sips that barely register as moisture. My bottle count is down to 1 3/4. Maybe 3 days left, probably less in this heat. I need to cover the windows. If I can block some of the sun, keep the interior cooler, I'll sweat less and conserve fluids. I gather pieces of cardboard and old boards, wedging them into the window slots. The light level drops dramatically, and the temperature cools by maybe 5 degrees. It's not much, but it's something. In the dimness, I sit on my board platform and try to think through my options logically. Option 1. Stay here, ration water. Hope for rain or rescue. Odds of survival? Low. Rain is unpredictable, and I've seen no sign of rescue operations. Helicopters flew over on the second and third day after everything started, but I haven't seen or heard any since. Whatever government or military response was being organized has either been overwhelmed or has written off this area. Option 2. Leave. Try to find water and supplies. Odds of survival? Uncertain. I'd have to climb down through the infected at the base of the tower. Even if I make it past them, the city is full of dangers. More infected, hostile survivors, unstable buildings, who knows what else. But at least I'd have a chance to find resources, to keep moving, to search for other survivors or safe zones. Option 3, end it myself. Jump from the tower or use the knife. Odds of survival, 0. But also 0 chance of being torn apart by infected or dying slowly of thirst. It's the coward's option, and I'm not ready to consider it seriously yet, but it sits there in the back of my mind, a dark comfort. At least I have control over that choice. I choose option 1 for now. Wait another day or two, see if it rains, see if the infected below lose interest and wander off. Give myself time to rest and heal. The bruise on my shoulder is painful, but not infected, I think. If the situation gets worse, I can always switch to option 2. The severed arm is starting to smell. The heat is accelerating decomposition, and the sweet, rotten stench fills the tank. I can't stand it anymore. Using a piece of cardboard as a shield between my hand and the flesh, I pick up the arm and push it through the window slot. It tumbles down the side of the tower, and I hear moaning increase below as the infected react to the movement. I replace the cardboard covering over the window and retreat to my corner. Time passes strangely when you have nothing to do but sit and wait. Minutes stretch into hours. I try to sleep during the hottest part of the day, conserving energy, but the heat makes rest difficult. I drift in a half-conscious state, not quite asleep, not quite awake. I think about my family. My mom died 3 years ago. Cancer. My dad is in Florida, or was before all this. And we weren't close. He remarried after Mom died, and his new wife made it clear I wasn't particularly welcome. I called him once after the outbreak started, got no answer. The phone networks were still working on day 2, barely, and I tried a dozen times to reach him. Nothing. Either he evacuated or he didn't make it, or he's hiding somewhere like me, and we'll never know each other's fate. I have a sister, Jenny. Had a sister. She lived in California with her husband and 2 kids. I don't know if she's alive. The distance between us suddenly feels unbearable. We weren't particularly close as adults, the usual drift that happens when life gets busy, but we were tight as kids. She was 3 years older and used to protect me on the playground, used to help me with homework, used to sneak me cookies before dinner when Mom wasn't looking. I hope she's okay. I hope she got somewhere safe with her family. I hope they're together, but I don't really believe it. The infection spread too fast, hit too hard. The news reports before everything went dark talked about major cities falling in hours, not days. Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, all overrun within 48 hours of the first cases appearing. If it was that bad in the cities, what hope did anyone have? No, can't think like that. Have to believe some people made it. Have to believe there are safe zones, military bases, islands, somewhere that people rallied and held the line. Otherwise, what's the point of surviving? The point is that you're alive right now, In this moment, that's enough. Afternoon fades to evening. The heat starts to dissipate. I remove some of the cardboard from the windows to let air circulate, and the cooling breeze is a relief so intense it almost makes me dizzy. I eat the other half of the energy bar and count out another small portion of trail mix. My stomach growls in protest at the meager amount, but it's all I can afford. The can of beans sits in my backpack, mocking me. All that food, useless without a can opener. Wait, the knife. I could try to punch through the lid with the knife, pry it open. It would be difficult and dangerous. I could cut myself badly if the blade slips, but it might work. I take out the can and examine it. It's a standard soup-size can, about 4 inches tall and 3 inches across. The label shows black beans and some kind of sauce. My mouth waters just looking at it. I set the can on the flattest board I can find and position the knife point against the lid near the edge. Then, I use a piece of wood as a hammer, tapping the knife handle to drive the point through the metal. It takes a dozen hits before the blade punches through. I work it around, making a series of holes along the edge of the lid, trying to create a perforated line I can tear open. The knife blade bends slightly under the force, and I'm terrified it will snap, but it holds. After 10 minutes of careful work, I've made enough holes that I can fold back a section of the lid. The smell of beans fills the tank, and my stomach cramps with hunger so intense it's painful. I should ration this, make the can last 2 or 3 meals, but I can't help myself. I'm so hungry, and the beans are right there. I scoop them out with my fingers, shoving them into my mouth, barely chewing before swallowing. They're cold and gelatinous and absolutely delicious. I eat half the can before I force myself to stop. I seal the can as best I can with the folded back lid and put it away. My stomach feels uncomfortably full, but in a good way. Real food, protein, and carbohydrates, and salt. I feel immediately stronger, more alert. The sunset through the window slots is spectacular. Bands of orange and pink and purple stretching across the sky, the sun a red ball on the horizon. I watch till the colors fade and stars begin to appear. 12 infected below now. They must have heard the hammering when I was opening the can. More keep arriving, drawn by noise or movement or whatever sense guides them to prey. I'm starting to understand that they don't leave. Once they know you're here, once they've locked onto your location, they stay. They wait. They don't get tired or bored or distracted. They just persist with that horrible patience until you make a mistake or run out of supplies or go crazy from isolation and come down on your own. I'm in a siege, and I'm losing. That night I dream about water. Clear, cold water in glasses and bottles and streams. I'm drinking and I can never get enough. I wake up with my throat so dry it's hard to swallow, and the need for water overwhelms everything else. I grab one of the remaining bottles and drink. Not 3 sips this time, but 6, 8, 10. The water is warm and tastes like plastic, but it's the best thing I've ever experienced. Drink half the bottle before I regain control and force myself to stop. I've just cut my water supply in half. Stupid, undisciplined. But I feel marginally more human, and that has to count for something. Day 4 in the tower. Or is it day 5? I'm losing track. The morning is overcast, clouds rolling in from the west. My heart leaps. Rain. If it rains, I can collect water, can extend my survival by days or weeks. I scramble to prepare. I position my empty bottles at the window slots, angled to catch any runoff. I clear away the debris in one corner of the floor, creating a depression where water might pool if it comes through the ceiling or walls. I remove all the cardboard blocking the windows to give rain every opportunity to blow inside. Then I wait. The clouds darken. Thunder rumbles in the distance. The wind picks up, making the tower sway and creak. I stand at the window, watching the storm approach. It's going to rain. It has to rain. The first drops hit the roof of the tank, a sound like popcorn popping. Then more, faster, a sudden deluge that roars against the metal. Water streams down the sides of the tower, rivers of it, more water than I could drink in a year. But none of it comes inside. The roof is sealed too well, the angle too steep. The water rushes past the window slots, and I can catch only occasional drops, not nearly enough to fill even one bottle. I'm desperate. I lean out the window as far as I dare, holding a bottle in the rain, trying to position it where the water is heaviest. The infected below see me, and their moaning increases in volume, a chorus of hunger that rises above the sound of the storm. I ignore them and focus on the bottle. After 5 minutes, I've collected maybe 3 ounces. The rain is already starting to let up. No, this can't be it. I need more. I push further out the window, leaning at a dangerous angle, and something grabs my wrist. The woman from 2 nights ago. She's climbed back up, is hanging onto the platform with one arm while reaching for me with her remaining hand. Her grip is impossibly strong. Fingers digging into my flesh, and she pulls. I drop the bottle. It falls away, bouncing off an infected below, and I grab the window frame with my free hand, bracing myself. She's pulling me out, pulling me down, and I can't break her grip. The knife. I need the knife, but it's in my pocket, and I can't reach it without letting go of the frame. If I let go, she'll pull me through the window. I do the only thing I can think of. I lean into her pull, getting closer instead of trying to pull away, and I bite down on her wrist as hard as I can. Dead flesh gives way under my teeth. The taste is indescribable, beyond disgusting, something that makes my body try to vomit and gag at the same time. But I keep biting, tearing, ripping until I hit bone. Her grip loosens slightly. I yank my arm back and she loses her balance, tumbling backward off the platform. I hear her hit the ground below, a wet crunch of impact. I scramble away from the window, spitting and gagging, trying to get the taste out of my mouth. I'm shaking violently and the rain is still coming down, and I've lost one of my precious bottles, and I can still taste her in my mouth. I rinse my mouth with water from my remaining bottle, swishing and spitting, using more than I should, but I can't help it. The water rinses away the taste, but not the memory. The rain stops 10 minutes later. The clouds break up and weak sunlight returns. I collected maybe 2 ounces of water total, losing a full bottle in the process. I'm worse off than before. I sit on the floor and put my head in my hands. This was my chance, my one opportunity to extend my time here, and I wasted it. I panicked, got greedy, and now I have less than a day of water left. Tomorrow I have to leave. There's no choice anymore. Stay and die, or go and maybe die, but at least die trying. I spend the rest of the day preparing. I go through my backpack, organizing everything, deciding what to take and what to leave. The first aid kit stays. I might need it. The lighter stays. The knife definitely stays. The spare shirt I leave behind, along with my dead phone and the empty water bottles. Every ounce of weight matters when you're trying to move fast and quiet. I eat the remaining beans, all of them, fueling my body for whatever comes tomorrow. The trail mix I save. It's lightweight and energy dense, good for quick calories while moving. I use strips of fabric from the shirt I'm leaving behind to wrap my hands, protecting them for the climb down. I test the security of my backpack, making sure it won't shift or catch on anything. As the sun sets, I stand at the window and study the infected below. 15 of them now. They're distributed in a loose circle around the tower, but they're not evenly spaced. The north side has only 2 of them, while the east side has 6 clustered together. North side. That's where I'll go. Down the ladder as fast as possible, hit the ground running, head north through the industrial park toward the tree line. If I can reach the woods, I can lose them in the undergrowth, find somewhere to hide until they lose interest. It's a bad plan. More accurately, it's a desperate plan. But it's all I have. I watch the sunset again, counting down the last hours of relative safety. Once I leave this tower, I'll be exposed, vulnerable, prey. But at least I'll be moving. At least I'll have a chance. The night is long and sleepless. I go over the plan again and again, visualizing each step. Climb down, jump the last broken section of ladder, sprint north, keep running no matter what. Don't look back, don't slow down, don't think about what happens if you trip or if they're faster than you expect, or if there are more of them waiting in the industrial park. Just run. Dawn comes, and with it a strange calm. I'm going to do this. I'm actually going to do this. I drink the last of my water, all of it, filling my body with as much fluid as possible. Then, I shoulder my backpack, check that my knife is secure in my pocket, and open the maintenance door. The platform outside is empty. The morning air is cool and fresh, and I take a deep breath, savoring it. Below, the infected have noticed the door opening. Their moaning increases in pitch and volume. I move to the ladder and look down. It's a long way to the ground. The ladder is rusted and ancient, and several rungs are missing or bent. About 15 feet from the bottom, there's a section where 5 consecutive rungs are completely gone, the break I had to bypass with the shopping cart on my way up. Going down, I'll have to either jump or try to shinny down the vertical supports. The infected below are moving toward the base of the ladder, converging on it. I count 14 of them now. One must have wandered off during the night. 14 is still too many. But I'm out of time and out of options. I lower myself onto the ladder and start climbing down, moving as quickly as I dare. The rungs are slippery with morning dew and decades of rust. My wrapped hands help with grip, but I can feel the ladder shifting under my weight, bolts pulling loose from their anchors. 20 feet down, 30. The infected below are directly under me now, reaching up, their hands grasping at empty air. The moaning is so loud it fills the world, a sound that vibrates in my chest and makes my teeth ache. I reach the broken section, 15 feet of empty space, the vertical supports too wide to shimmy down safely. I have to jump. I look down. They're packed together below me, a writhing mass of gray flesh and grasping hands. If I jump now, I'll land right in the middle of them. I climb back up 3 rungs and look around desperately. There has to be another option. I can't have come this far just to wait. The support legs of the tower, they angle outward from the central structure, and there's a horizontal crossbeam about 10 feet to my left, just below the broken section of ladder. If I can swing over to it, I can climb down the support leg, come out on the north side, where there are only 2 infected. It means letting go of the ladder. It means trusting a 60-year-old beam to hold my weight. It means one chance to get this right. I wrap my legs around the ladder and start rocking, building momentum, swinging side to side. The infected below go crazy, their moaning reaching a fevered pitch. The ladder groans and shifts, and I hear bolts popping free from the tank above. On the 3rd swing, I let go. For one awful moment, I'm flying, nothing but air beneath me, and I'm certain I've misjudged the distance, certain I'm about to fall into the waiting horde below. My hands hit the crossbeam. I grab it. My momentum carrying me into a swing, my legs dangling. The metal is rough and corroded, and I feel my improvised hand wraps tearing. I hang there for a second, getting my bearings, then pull myself up until I can hook a leg over the beam. From there, it's a matter of shimmying along the beam to where it meets the support leg, then climbing down the leg itself. The support leg has welded rungs, a maintenance ladder that's in better shape than the main one. I descend quickly, and when I'm 10 feet from the ground, I jump. I hit hard, rolling, coming up in a sprint, north, run north. Behind me, the moaning changes tone, becomes directional, focused. They've seen me. They're coming. I run. The industrial park is overgrown, waist-high weeds and scattered trash and rusted equipment. I dodge around the hulk of an old car, leap over a fallen chain-link fence, keep running. My lungs burn, my legs scream. I don't look back. Something grabs my backpack. I'm yanked backward, nearly losing my balance. I spin, and there's one of them, a man in shredded business clothes, his face a mask of gray-green rot. His hand is tangled in my backpack strap. I punch him. My fist connects with his nose, and it collapses like paper, but he doesn't let go. I pull the knife and stab him in the eye, driving the blade in until it hits the back of his skull. He drops. I run. More of them ahead, 3 of them, emerging from behind a pile of pallets. I change direction east now, toward a warehouse with its loading dock door hanging open. If I can get inside, find another exit, I can lose them. The warehouse is dark and smells like chemicals and mold. I run through it, knocking over boxes, crashing through debris. Behind me, the moaning echoes through the space, closer than it should be. There. An exit sign, glowing faintly green from some emergency battery that hasn't died yet. I sprint toward it, hit the door at full speed, and burst out into daylight. I'm in an alley between 2 buildings. At the far end, I can see a street, and beyond that, a residential neighborhood. Houses with yards and fences and trees, places to hide. I run toward it. I run until my lungs won't pull air anymore, until my legs give out, until I collapse behind a dumpster in someone's driveway and lie there gasping, waiting for the infected to round the corner and finish me. They don't come. I wait 5 minutes, 10, listening. The moaning has faded, grown distant. Either I lost them, or they're tracking me more slowly. Either way, I have a moment to breathe. I stand on shaking legs and look around. I'm in a residential area, tree-lined streets with houses that probably cost $500,000 before the world ended. Cars sit in driveways with doors open and windows broken. A child's bicycle lies on its side in one yard. A dog barks somewhere in the distance, and I feel a surge of irrational hope at the sound of normal life. The barking stops suddenly, cut off mid-yelp. A different kind of sound replaces it, wet and tearing. Never mind. I need to find water and a safe place to rest. The house closest to me has a for sale sign in the yard, which means it might be empty, might have been empty even before all this started. Less chance of infected or bodies inside. I approach carefully, watching the windows for movement. Nothing. The front door is locked, but a side window is broken. I climb through, careful of the glass, and drop into what looks like a dining room. The house is empty. Not just of people, but of furniture. The previous owners must have moved everything out before the world ended. There are shadows on the walls where pictures hung, indentations in the carpet where furniture sat, but otherwise, the place is hollow. Perfect. I clear each room, making sure I'm alone. Kitchen, empty. Living room, empty. Bathroom, empty. 3 bedrooms upstairs, empty, empty, empty. In the master bathroom, I turn the faucet, not expecting anything. Water sputters out, brown at first, then clearing. I almost cry with relief. The pressure is low and the flow is weak, but water is coming out of the tap. I cup my hands and drink, gulp after gulp until my stomach sloshes. Then, I fill my remaining water bottle, and a second bottle I find under the sink, and a third I dig out of the recycling bin in the kitchen. 3 full bottles, maybe 60 ounces total. In the kitchen, I check the cupboards. They're mostly empty, but I find a half-empty box of crackers, a jar of peanut butter with maybe a quarter remaining, and 3 cans of soup. The cans have pull tabs. I could kiss whoever invented pull tabs. I sit on the kitchen floor and eat crackers with peanut butter, scooping it out with my fingers, not caring about manners or mess. It's salty and rich and fills my empty stomach, and I eat until the jar is empty and half the crackers are gone. I'm alive. Against all odds, I made it out of the tower, outran the infected, and found food and water. I'm alive. The rush of survival fades. An exhaustion crashes over me like a wave. I need to rest. Need to sleep somewhere safe. Upstairs, the master bedroom has a walk-in closet with a door that locks from the inside. It's a small space, maybe 6 feet by 4 feet, but it's defensible. If infected get into the house, they'd have to break down the closet door to reach me, and the noise would wake me up. I drag a pillow and blanket I find in a hallway closet into my new safe room, along with my supplies and backpack. Then, I close the closet door, lock it, and lie down on the carpeted floor. Sleep takes me instantly. I dream about the woman on the tower platform, her ruined face pressed against the window. But in the dream, I'm the one reaching through. I'm the one grasping and moaning, and I wake up gasping, uncertain for a moment which side of the window I'm on. Light comes through the crack under the closet door. Afternoon maybe, or late morning. I've slept for hours. I sit up slowly, my whole body aching from yesterday's exertion in the hard floor. Everything is quiet. No moaning outside, no sounds of movement in the house. I'm alone, at least for now. I eat more crackers and drink water from one of my bottles. My supplies are better than they were in the tower, but they're still finite. Maybe 2 days of food if I'm careful, 3 or 4 days of water. Then, I'll need to move again, find more resources. But for now, I have this moment of safety, this small closet in an empty house. And that's enough. I spend the afternoon organizing my supplies and taking stock of my situation. My clothes are filthy and smell like sweat and fear. The bruise on my shoulder has faded to a sickly yellow-green, and it only hurts when I press on it. My hands are cut up from the ladder climb. Nothing serious, but enough to need attention. I use supplies from my first aid kit to clean and bandage the worst cuts. The house has running water, at least for now. I use the bathroom to clean myself up, stripping down and washing with a damp towel since I don't dare run the shower. The noise might draw attention. The cool water on my skin is a luxury I didn't think I'd experience again. I wash my clothes in the sink as best I can and hang them over the shower rod to dry. Dressed in my spare shirt and underwear, I explore the house more thoroughly. In the garage, I find a toolbox with screwdrivers, a hammer, and a wrench. I find a roll of duct tape, some rope, and a tarp, all potentially useful. I bring them upstairs to my closet. In one of the empty bedrooms, I find something written on the wall in marker. Gone to Mom's in Riverside. Love you always. Sarah. A message left for someone who probably never came home to read it. I wonder if Sarah made it to Riverside. I wonder if her mom was alive to receive her. As evening approaches, I stand at an upstairs window and watch the neighborhood. Nothing moves except leaves blowing in the wind. The street is empty. The house is silent. It's eerily peaceful, like the world's largest ghost town. Then I see movement. 3 houses down, a door opens and a man steps out. He's alive, not infected. His movements are too purposeful, too controlled. He's carrying a rifle and has a backpack over his shoulders. He looks up and down the street, then starts walking east, moving quickly and quietly. I duck away from the window. Does he know I'm here? Should I try to make contact? Part of me desperately wants human interaction, wants to know I'm not alone in all this, but another part remembers those men I saw days ago, the ones dragging a woman into a building while she screamed. Not everyone who survived is safe to be around. I decide to stay hidden. If he's a good person, I'm missing an opportunity for alliance or information. If he's dangerous, I'm avoiding a threat. On balance, hiding seems safer. I watch from the edge of the window as he disappears around a corner. Once he's gone, I return to my closet and barricade myself in for the night. Sleep comes easier than it did in the tower, maybe because I have a locked door between me and the world. Maybe because I'm so exhausted my body just shuts down regardless of safety. Either way, I drift off listening to the silence of the empty house. I wake to screaming. It's still dark outside, maybe 2 or 3 in the morning. The screaming comes from somewhere close, maybe a few houses away. A woman's voice, high and ragged with terror. She's screaming words, but I can't make them out, just the raw panic in her voice. Then moaning, the wet, gurgling sound of infected multiple voices rising in response to the screaming, more and more of them, drawn by the noise. The woman's screams get louder, closer. She's running toward this house. I hear a door crash open downstairs. Footsteps pounding through the empty rooms. The woman is in the house with me, and the infected are right behind her. I don't move. Don't make a sound. I sit in my locked closet in the dark and listen as the woman runs through the house below me. She's sobbing, begging, calling for help that isn't coming. I should help her. I should unlock this door and call out, let her know she's not alone. But if I do that, the infected will know I'm here too. They'll find both of us. I'm a coward. I know I'm a coward, but I don't open the door. The woman runs upstairs. I hear her footsteps on the landing, hear her trying door handles. She's looking for a room to hide in, to barricade herself in. She tries the bedroom door right next to where I'm hiding. The infected are in the house now. I can hear them on the stairs, multiple sets of feet stumbling up. The moaning is so loud, so close. The woman screams again, and this time, there are words. Help me, please. Someone help me. I put my hands over my ears, close my eyes, try to block it out. It doesn't work. I can still hear everything. The woman screams, reaching a pitch that doesn't sound human anymore. The tearing sounds, the wet sounds, the moaning reaching a crescendo, and then gradually fading to the normal background chorus. Then, silence. I sit in the dark with my hands over my ears and try not to imagine what happened. Try not to picture the woman being pulled apart by dead hands in the room next door. Try not to hate myself for doing nothing. She was probably infected already. That's what I tell myself. She was probably bitten, probably infected, and saving her would have just delayed the inevitable. Better that I stayed hidden, stayed safe. One person surviving is better than two people dying. I don't believe it, but I tell myself anyway. The night passes with agonizing slowness. I don't sleep again. I just sit and listen to the sounds of infected moving through the house, bumping into walls, knocking things over. They know prey was here. They're searching. At some point before dawn, they leave. I hear them shuffling down the stairs and out the door, drawn by some other noise or scent. The house falls silent again. I wait until full daylight before I unlock the closet door. My hands are shaking so badly it takes 3 tries to turn the lock. The bedroom next to mine has its door hanging open. I don't want to look inside, don't want to see what's left. But I force myself to check, need to know if any infected stayed behind. The room is empty, no body, no blood, nothing. Either they dragged her away, or she managed to escape, or this was a different room and she died somewhere else in the house. I search the entire house again, clearing every room, every closet, every possible hiding spot. I'm alone. The infected are gone. The woman is gone. But I can't stay here. This house is compromised now. They know it's here, know that prey was recently inside. They might come back. I gather my supplies quickly, refill my water bottles from the bathroom tap. The pressure is even lower today, barely a trickle, and prepare to leave. Before I go, I check the street from an upstairs window. 4 infected wandering aimlessly in the road. A small group, manageable if I'm careful. I slip out the back door and move through the yards, staying low, using fences and bushes for cover. The goal is to put distance between myself and this neighborhood, find another safe house, another temporary refuge. 3 houses down, I find a sliding glass door that opens easily. The house inside is fully furnished, which means the owners were probably here when things went bad. I clear the ground floor quickly. Living room, kitchen, dining room, bathroom, all empty. I'm heading for the stairs when I hear a sound from above, a voice, human, male. Don't come up here, I'm armed. I freeze, hands raised. I'm not infected. I'm just looking for a safe place. Yeah, well, this place is occupied. Move along. Please, I said move along. Something crashes down the stairs. A book thrown hard. The message is clear. I back toward the door. Okay, I'm leaving. And don't come back. Next time I won't warn you. I slip back outside and keep moving. So much for human connection. So much for safety in numbers. We're all just animals now, protecting our territory, driving off anything that threatens our resources. The sun is fully up now, and the day promises to be hot again. I need to find shelter soon, get out of the open before the heat becomes dangerous. I'm also running low on water already. The house with the taps only had a trickle, and I couldn't fill my bottles completely. I cut through more yards, heading generally west, away from the city center and toward the suburbs. The infected seem less concentrated here, though I still see them wandering in ones and twos. I avoid them when possible, hide, and wait for them to pass. By mid-morning, I'm exhausted. The lack of sleep and the stress of constant alertness is catching up with me. I need to rest, need to find somewhere secure. I choose a house with a second-story deck, reasoning that if infected get inside, I can climb down from the deck and escape. The front door is locked, but a basement window is broken. I climb through into darkness, flashlight in hand. The basement is unfinished, just concrete walls and floor, some storage boxes, a water heater. The stairs lead up to the main floor. I climb them slowly, listening at the door at the top for any sound of movement. Nothing. I open the door and step into a kitchen. The smell hits me immediately. Death, decomposition, the sweet rotten stench I've come to recognize. Somewhere in this house, there's a body. I should leave, but I'm so tired, and this house otherwise seems secure. If I can just tolerate the smell, maybe block off the room where the body is, I can use the rest of the house. I find the source in the master bedroom. An older man lying in bed, a bottle of pills on the nightstand, and a note pinned to his chest. I don't read the note. It's not meant for me. He chose his own way out, and I can respect that. I close the bedroom door and use duct tape from my supplies to seal the gaps around the frame, trying to contain the smell. It helps, but not enough. The whole house reeks. But there's food in the kitchen, canned goods, dry pasta, rice, even a few bottles of juice in the pantry. The fridge is a horror show of rotted food, and I don't open it. But the pantry is a treasure trove, and there's water. Not from the taps, those are completely dry, but in the water heater in the basement. 40 gallons of water, still clean or clean enough. I find a bucket and start transferring water from the heater's drain valve to containers upstairs. This house could support me for a week or more if I can tolerate the smell of decomposition. It's a trade-off, comfort versus resources. Right now, resources win. I spend the day organizing, cataloging what I have, planning how to ration it. I find a camping stove in the garage with 2 propane cylinders, which means I can cook. I find blankets and pillows. I find a battery-powered radio, but when I turn it on, there's nothing but static on every frequency. As evening approaches, I sit on the back deck and watch the sun set. The neighborhood is quiet, except for the distant moaning of infected. Smoke still rises from various points in the city, though less than a week ago, the fires are burning out, running out of fuel. I think about the woman from last night, the one I didn't help. I tell myself again that there was nothing I could have done, that revealing myself would have just gotten us both killed. But the guilt sits in my chest, like a weight. How many other people are out there, hiding in houses and buildings, listening to each other scream and doing nothing? How many opportunities for human cooperation and survival are we missing because we're all too afraid to trust each other? But then I think about the man with the rifle who told me to move along, about the group dragging a woman into a building, about all the ways people can be dangerous to each other, even without an apocalypse as an excuse. Maybe isolation is safer. Maybe trusting no one is the smartest play. I don't have answers. I just have this moment, this house, these supplies. Tomorrow will bring new problems, new choices. For now, I'm alive, and that's enough. The next few days fall into a routine. Wake at dawn. Check the house for any signs of infected getting in overnight. Eat a small breakfast, crackers, peanut butter, juice. Ration water carefully. Spend the day maintaining my shelter, reinforcing doors and windows, organizing supplies. Watch from the second-story windows for movement outside. Ate a small dinner. Barricade myself in the master bathroom to sleep. It's the only room without windows and has a door that locks. The smell of the body in the sealed bedroom fades over time, or maybe I just get used to it. Either way, becomes background, something I'm aware of but can ignore most of the time. On the third day in this house, I see another survivor, a woman younger than me, maybe mid-20s. She's moving from house to house, checking doors and windows, clearly scavenging for supplies. She's alone and doesn't appear to be armed. I watch from an upstairs window as she tries the house next door, finds it locked, moves on. She's heading this way. I have a choice. Let her find the house and potentially my supplies, or make myself known, possibly share resources, possibly make an ally, or drive her off like the man with the rifle did to me. Before I can decide, she notices something in the street, an infected, wandering into view. She freezes, then backs away slowly, trying not to attract its attention. It sees her anyway. The moaning starts, and it begins moving in her direction. She runs, sprinting across yards, and more infected emerge from between houses, drawn by the noise. She's fast. But there are at least 6 of them now, and they're converging on her position. She vaults a fence and disappears from view. The moaning follows her, moving away from my house. I track the sounds as the chase moves through the neighborhood, getting more distant until I can't hear it anymore. I don't know if she escaped. I hope she did, but I don't know. I stay in the house. On the 5th day, the water from the water heater runs out. I've been careful, rationing it. But 40 gallons doesn't last as long as you'd think when you're using it for drinking, cooking, and basic hygiene. I'm down to my last few bottles, maybe 2 days worth if I'm extremely careful. I need to find more water. That means leaving this relatively safe house and venturing out into the neighborhood again. The thought fills me with dread, but there's no choice. Without water, I'm dead in a matter of days. I spend an hour preparing, packing my backpack with essentials, planning my route. There's a convenience store about 6 blocks away. I passed it on my way into this neighborhood. It might have bottled water, might have other supplies. It's also likely to be picked over or full of infected, but it's the closest option. I leave at dawn, moving through the gray pre-light when the infected seem least active. I don't know if they actually are less active at this time, or if it's just wishful thinking, but it feels safer. The streets are quieter than I expected. I see infected in the distance, but none close enough to be an immediate threat. I move from cover to cover, using cars and bushes and fences, staying low and quiet. The convenience store has its front window smashed in, not a good sign. I approach carefully, watching for movement inside. The interior is a disaster. Shelves knocked over, merchandise scattered everywhere, dried blood on the floor and walls. But there are still supplies. I see chip bags and candy bars and, yes, cases of bottled water stacked near the back, partially hidden behind a fallen shelving unit. I slip inside, moving carefully through the debris. Every step crunches on broken glass, sends up small clouds of dust. My heart is hammering, adrenaline making my hands shake. The water is still there. 6 packs of 16-ounce bottles, at least a dozen of them. I could take all of them, but that much weight would slow me down. I grab 4 6-packs, 24 bottles total, and stuff them into my backpack and arms. A sound from the back of the store. The stockroom door is hanging open, and something is moving back there. I freeze, watching the doorway. A figure emerges, infected, definitely infected. A woman in a store uniform with half her face missing. She sees me and the moaning starts, that horrible wet sound. I run, straight out the front of the store, not caring about stealth anymore, just speed. The bottles in my arms are heavy and awkward, threatening to slip free. I clutch them tighter and sprint. Behind me, more moaning. The woman from the store is following, and her calls are drawing others. I risk a glance back and see 3 more infected joining the chase. I can't outrun them while carrying this much weight. I have to drop some of the water, but the thought of losing it after coming this far makes me want to scream. A car up ahead, doors open. I dive inside, pulling the bottles in with me, and slam the door shut. The infected crash against the windows, leaving smears of decay on the glass. They're all around the car, rocking it, their hands beating against the metal. I'm trapped. Again, always trapped. But I have water. 24 bottles of water, enough for 2 weeks if I'm careful. I just have to wait for them to lose interest and wander off. Except they don't. They stay, clustering around the car, moaning and reaching. Hours pass. The sun rises higher, and the interior of the car becomes an oven. Sweat soaks through my clothes. I drink one of my precious bottles of water, then another, negating the whole point of this supply run. I need a plan. I can't stay in this car forever. The horn. If I honk the horn, it will draw every infected in hearing distance, but it might also draw them away if I can create a distraction. If I can get them focused on a sound coming from somewhere else, I might be able to slip away. I search the car for anything useful. In the glove box, I find a manual and some papers. In the center console, a pen and some loose change. Not much to work with. Wait, the keys are still in the ignition. The car might still run. I turn the key. The engine turns over once, twice, then catches. The car starts, rumbling to life, and the infected around it go crazy, their moaning reaching a fever pitch. I put the car in gear and drive. I've never been so grateful for an unlocked car with keys left behind. I plow through 2 infected who are too slow to get out of the way, feeling the sickening thump of bodies under the wheels. The rest scatter or try to chase, but I'm accelerating, leaving them behind. I drive for 3 blocks before the engine starts sputtering. The gas gauge reads empty. I'm running on fumes. I get another block before the car dies completely, coasting to a stop in the middle of the street. But I'm clear of the immediate danger. I grab my backpack and the water bottles and slip out of the car, moving quickly into the nearest yard. From there, I work my way back toward my safe house, moving through backyards and side streets, avoiding the main roads. It takes 2 hours to get back carrying all that water. My arms ache and my back screams in protest, but I make it. I slip in through the basement window and secure it behind me. I'm safe. I have water. I survived another supply run. I spend the rest of the day recovering, drinking water and eating crackers, letting my body rest. Tomorrow I'll need to venture out again. The food in this house is running low, but for now, I can just breathe. That night, I hear gunshots. 3 quick cracks, close enough that I can tell they're pistol shots rather than a rifle. Then silence. I don't know who was shooting or what they were shooting at. I don't investigate. I just add it to the catalog of sounds that make up the new normal. Moaning, screaming, gunshots, silence. Days blur together. I lose count of how long I've been in this house. A week? 2? The routine becomes automatic. Wake, eat, watch, sleep. Sometimes I venture out for supplies. Sometimes I see other survivors in the distance. We never approach each other, never make contact. We're like animals claiming territory, acknowledging each other's existence, but maintaining careful distance. The infected are everywhere, but they're spread out now, individuals and small groups, rather than the hordes I saw in the first days. Maybe they've dispersed looking for prey. Maybe some of them have broken down, their bodies finally giving out to whatever infection animates them. I don't know, and I don't have the luxury of curiosity. What I do know is that I'm surviving. Day by day, hour by hour, I'm still breathing, still moving, still fighting. It's not much of a life, but it's life, and that has to be enough. One morning, I wake to the sound of helicopters, the deep thump, thump, thump of rotor blades, multiple aircraft coming closer. I rush to the window and see them. 3 military helicopters flying low over the neighborhood, moving in formation. Rescue. It has to be rescue. The military is finally here, finally mounting some kind of relief effort. I run downstairs and out into the backyard, waving my arms, shouting, "Here! I'm here! I'm alive!" The helicopters pass overhead without slowing, without even dipping lower. They're not looking for survivors. They're just flying over, heading somewhere else, somewhere more important. I watch them disappear into the distance, and the crushing disappointment nearly drives me to my knees. For a moment, I had hope. For a moment, I thought rescue was coming, but they're not here for me. Maybe they're not here for anyone. I go back inside and lock the door and try not to cry. That afternoon, I see smoke rising from the direction the helicopters flew. A lot of smoke, thick and black, like something large is burning. I don't know what it means. Another neighborhood destroyed? Controlled burn of infected? Some kind of military operation? I'll probably never know. The days continue. Water, food, sleep, watch. The same routine over and over until it stops feeling like survival and starts feeling like just waiting to die. But I don't die. My body adapts. I get leaner, harder, my muscles adjusting to the constant low-level stress and occasional bursts of intense activity. My senses sharpen. I can hear infected from blocks away now, can tell by the timbre of the moaning how many there are, and roughly how far. I learn to move silently, to control my breathing, to become a ghost in my own neighborhood. I'm not the same person I was 3 weeks ago. That person worked in a warehouse and worried about bills and watched TV shows and complained about traffic. That person is dead. I'm what's left. Something stripped down to pure survival instinct. Is that better or worse? I don't know. I don't think about it. Thinking too much is dangerous. It leads to depression, despair, giving up. Better to focus on the immediate, the concrete. Find food. Find water. Stay alive one more day. One evening, I'm watching from the upstairs window when I see a group of survivors moving through the street below. 5 people, 3 men, and 2 women, all armed with various weapons. A shotgun, a baseball bat, a pipe, a knife. They're moving purposefully heading east, and they look organized, like they've been working together for a while. I watch them pass, and I feel a pang of something. Loneliness, envy. They have each other, have strength in numbers, have people to watch their backs. And I'm alone, hiding in a house that smells like death. Talking to myself to break the silence. Should I try to join them? Call out? Make myself known? Take the risk? I watch them disappear around a corner, and I don't call out. The moment passes, and I'm alone again. Maybe I prefer it this way. Alone means no one to disappoint, no one to let down, no one to watch die. Alone is safer, in its own way, even if it's also slowly driving me insane. The house's food supply finally runs out on what I think is day 23. I've been stretching it, eating less and less, but there's a limit to how long you can make a pantry last. The water from my last supply run is running low too. Maybe 3 days left. Time to move again. Time to find a new safe house, new resources, new temporary refuge. The thought exhausts me. There's no choice. I pack my backpack with everything essential. Say goodbye to the house that sheltered me and slip out into the afternoon sun. The neighborhood looks different now. More doors are standing open, more windows are broken. Either other survivors have been through or infected have found ways inside. The signs of civilization are fading, replaced by the slow creep of nature. Weeds growing taller, vines starting to climb walls, birds nesting in eaves. Give it another month, another year, and this place will look abandoned for decades rather than weeks. I head north, toward another cluster of houses I haven't explored yet. It's farther from the city center, hopefully less picked over, hopefully safer. I'm halfway there when I hear the screaming again. A different person, a different situation, but the same raw terror I heard that night in my first safe house. Someone is in trouble, and I'm close enough that I could help. I stop walking. My hand goes to the knife in my pocket. Every instinct says to hide, to stay silent, to protect myself first and only. But I'm so tired of hiding, So tired of being alone, of letting people die while I do nothing. Maybe it's time to try being human again, even if it gets me killed. I run toward the screaming. The sound leads me to a 2-story house with a torn-up yard. The front door is hanging open, and the screaming is coming from inside. A man's voice, hoarse and desperate. I slip through the door and follow the sound upstairs. A bedroom door is barricaded with furniture, and someone is pounding on it from the inside. The pounding isn't rhythmic and mindless, like infected. It's desperate and directed. "Hold on!" I call out. "I'm going to try to help." "They're in here," the voice yells back. "3 of them. They broke through the window." I reach the door and start pulling furniture away. A dresser, a chair, a nightstand. On the other side, I hear snarling, moaning, and the man's panicked breathing. The last piece of furniture comes away, and I turn the door handle. It swings open, and I see the scene inside. A man, mid-30s, backed into a corner with a broken chair leg as a weapon. 3 infected are advancing on him, blocking his escape. I don't think. I just act. I grab the nearest infected from behind, wrapping my arm around its neck, and stab it in the base of the skull with my knife. It goes down. The second one turns toward me, and I kick it hard in the knee, shattering the joint. It falls, and I'm on it, stabbing down until it stops moving. The third one has grabbed the man, and they're struggling. He's trying to keep its teeth away from his neck, but it's strong and he's panicking. I jump on its back and drive my knife into its eye socket, twisting, pushing deeper, until I feel the blade penetrate into the brain. It shudders and collapses, taking the man down with it. Silence. We're both on the floor, gasping, covered in black blood and worse. The man looks at me with wide eyes, like he can't believe I'm real. You saved me." I stand up slowly, my legs shaking. "Yeah, I guess I did." "Why?" It's a fair question. I'm asking myself the same thing. Why risk my life for a stranger when I wouldn't even risk making noise to help the woman in my safe house? Because I'm tired of hiding, I say. Because maybe we have a better chance together than alone. He gets to his feet, still holding the broken chair leg. He's tall, thin, with a beard that looks like it hasn't been trimmed in weeks. His clothes are torn and dirty, and he has a nasty scratch on his forearm that's starting to scab over. "I'm Marcus," he says. I realize I haven't said my name out loud in weeks. "I'm Sam." We stand there for a moment, 2 survivors who just fought for their lives together, unsure what comes next. "Do you have somewhere safe?" he asks. I think about the empty house, the sealed bedroom, the smell of death. "Not really. You?" He shakes his head. "I've been moving from place to place. Everywhere I try to settle, infected find me. It's like they can sense when someone's alone." Maybe they can. We're quiet, both of us processing. Then Marcus says, "We should stick together. 2 people can keep better watch, can scavenge more efficiently. We'd have a better chance." He's right. Logically, mathematically, our odds of survival increase with cooperation. But cooperation also means trusting someone else, depending on someone else, risking being betrayed or let down or watched while they die. On the other hand, I'm tired of being alone. I'm tired of talking to myself, of lying awake listening to the silence, of making every decision in isolation. Maybe it's worth the risk. "Okay," I say. "Let's stick together." We shake hands, and it's the first human touch I've had in nearly a month that wasn't violent. His hand is warm and rough with calluses, and the simple contact almost makes me cry. We spend the next hour clearing the rest of the house, making sure no more infected are hiding anywhere. Then, we barricade the broken window and the front door, securing our new base as best we can. Marcus has supplies, a backpack with some canned food, a gallon jug of water, a first aid kit better than mine, and a map of the city with various locations marked. "I've been cataloging safe houses and supply caches," he explains, spreading the map on the floor. "These red marks are places I know are overrun. Yellow marks are places I haven't checked yet. Green marks are places with resources still available. There are a lot more red marks than green ones, but even a few safe supply locations could make the difference between survival and starvation. Where did you come from? I ask. Before all this, I mean. I was a teacher, high school history. I was at school when things fell apart. Locked myself in the supply closet with a couple of students. We held out for 3 days before he trails off, his face going dark. Before the infected broke through, I was the only one who made it out. I want to ask more, want to know what happened to those students, but the look on his face tells me he's not ready to talk about it. I was a warehouse worker, I offer. Night shift stalker. I hid in the warehouse for 2 days, then ran. Been moving ever since. We trade stories for a while, comparing experiences, filling in gaps in each other's understanding of how the world ended. Marcus says the infection started in a research lab, some kind of bioweapon or medical experiment gone wrong. I say I heard it was a virus from overseas, spread through airline travel. Neither of us knows for sure, and the truth doesn't really matter anymore. The world ended either way. As night falls, we take turns on watch, one sleeping while the other monitors the doors and windows. Having someone else to share the burden is a relief so profound I almost can't stand it. For the first time in weeks, I sleep deeply, knowing someone else is watching my back. The next few days are a revelation. With 2 of us, scavenging is easier and safer. Marcus keeps watch while I search houses, or I cover him while he breaks into locked buildings. We find more food, more water, more supplies than either of us could have managed alone. We develop a system. I'm faster and quieter, better at moving through spaces unseen. Marcus is stronger and better in a fight, able to handle infected directly if needed. Together, we're effective. But it's not just the practical benefits. Having someone to talk to, someone to share observations and fears and dark humor with, makes survival feel like less of a grinding nightmare. We laugh sometimes, actual genuine laughter, at stupid things or shared frustrations. We tell each other stories about before, keeping those memories alive. On the 5th day together, we're searching a pharmacy when we find another survivor. A teenage girl hiding in the back office, armed with nothing but a pair of scissors. She's terrified, near catatonic, and it takes 20 minutes to convince her we're not going to hurt her. Her name is Ellie. She's 16. She was with her mom and little brother when the outbreak started, but they got separated in the chaos. She's been alone ever since, hiding in this pharmacy, living on expired candy bars and whatever water she could find. We take her with us. Marcus insists, and I don't argue. She's just a kid, and leaving her alone would be a death sentence. So now we're 3. Our safe house gets more crowded but also more secure. 3 people can keep better watch, can cover more ground, can carry more supplies. Ellie is scared and grieving and traumatized, but she's also smart and determined. She learns quickly, adapts fast. Over the next 2 weeks, our group grows. We find a man named David, an EMT who has medical training that proves invaluable. We find a woman named Rachel, who knows how to hotwire cars and basic mechanical repair. We find 2 more teenagers, siblings named Jake and Sophie, who were hiding in their school. By the end of the first month, we're a group of 8, living in a fortified house with boarded windows and reinforced doors. We have a system for scavenging, for keeping watch, for rationing supplies. We have rules and responsibilities and something resembling a community. It's not perfect. People argue, tensions run high, resources are always scarce. But it's functional, and more importantly, it gives us something to live for beyond just making it to tomorrow. Marcus becomes our de facto leader, organizing supply runs and making decisions about our long-term strategy. I become the scout, the one who goes out first to check if areas are safe. David handles medical issues. Rachel maintains our equipment. The kids help with cooking and water purification and a dozen other essential tasks. We survive, not just day to day, but with actual planning, actual hope for a future that extends beyond the next meal or the next sunrise. One evening, Sitting on the roof of our safe house, watching the sunset, Marcus asked me, "Do you ever regret it? Saving me that day?" I think about it, about how much harder it is to care about other people, to worry about their safety as well as my own, about how much it hurt when we lost someone last week, a man named Tom who got bit during a supply run and turned before we could stop him, about all the ways having a group complicates survival. No, I say finally, I don't regret it. Being alone was killing me, just slower than the infected would. This is better. This is actually worth surviving for. He nods, satisfied with the answer. As the sun disappears below the horizon and the stars come out, think about the water tower. About how I climbed up there certain I was going to die, certain there was no hope left. About the woman I didn't help, about all the choices I made out of fear and desperation. I'm not proud of everything I did, but I survived long enough to find something worth living for. I survived long enough to become part of something bigger than myself. The moaning starts up in the distance, that familiar chorus of the infected. But here on the roof, surrounded by people I trust, it doesn't seem quite as overwhelming as it once did. We have a long way to go. The world isn't getting better, and survival is still a day-to-day struggle. But we're facing it together now, and that makes all the difference. Tomorrow we'll send out another scavenging team. We'll repair the barricades that got damaged in last night's storm. We'll ration what food we have and hope we find more. We'll keep watch and keep moving and keep surviving, because that's what we do now. That's who we are. We're the ones who didn't give up, who kept fighting, who found each other in the darkness. We're the survivors, and that's enough.